AskReddit by contemplating meth. What is a privilege that people act as if it isn't? A supportive family, it can really get you places. This is so true. I never had support growing up. I was always belittled and degraded. I didn't make much of myself. Then I married a supportive man. I've turned my whole life around just because I had someone who believed I could be more. It is amazing. Having support around you is like surrounding yourself with mirrors to bounce back your light instead of sending all your light into a black hole and getting nothing back ever. Having a peaceful home. It gets depressing once you don't have a place to fall back and just rest peacefully. I dated a man for 7 years who I fought with constantly about every little thing. I broke up with him, literally ended the relationship because he didn't want to get married, and met my now husband a year later. The other day I left both sets of both of car's keys in my purse. Had to rush home from work so he wouldn't be late for his shift. My ex would have lost his ever-loving shit on me. My now husband just laughed it off and called me his pain in the ass. Which I am. Really made me sit back and thank God I left that relationship. I'm allowed to make mistakes and come home and it's okay. In fact, if I make a mistake, the first place I want to run to is home. That's wild to me, lol. Never had that before. Being healthy. You never realize the importance of health until it's compromised. I'm not the fittest person, could definitely stand to lose a good amount of weight. But I'd never really had any issues going out on hikes or doing manual labor around the house. But I got a really bad case of COVID, to the point where the GP was calling to check my condition to see if I needed to be sent to hospital. 4 months I could barely breathe properly. After that, puffed out just walking up the stairs. Walking the dog for 10 minutes was like running a marathon. It just knocked me down to level I have literally never been at. I'm still recovering from it now. Being able to sleep, a good night's sleep. I wake up like 5-7 times during the night and I have nightmares a lot. I am driving down the road and I push hard the brake pedal, but I can't seem to make the car stop and I am about to crash, or I am going on a plane and forgot my passport, or forgot to book the hotel and there are none, or forgot the reservation for the car. I always messed something up. I don't know, I never have a good night of sleep. Having people support and accept you. If people have made space for you and treated you with kindness, you are more privileged than you know. Driving. It's a privilege, not a right. I know that in some places it can be difficult or impossible to get around without a car. Hell, my job has 0 public transport options. But that doesn't mean you have the right to risk the lives of everyone around you. You're driving a 1-ton death machine. Be mindful and respectful of that. High-speed internet access. Internet access period. Having electric, gas, and running water. So many in the world don't have this still. As someone who grew up without reliable access to those things, I second this. Also, people don't seem to realize those conditions exist in the US as well, and I don't mean ancient history. I'm a millennial, I'm from the US, and I went through that. You go rural enough, this isn't a very developed country. Having parents in the same industry you are pursuing. I am so tired of those Nepo babies denying it, claiming that it actually makes their lives harder. What BS is this? All of my architecture colleagues that have successful architecture offices of their own nowadays had one thing in common: architect, engineer, or great building company owner parents. It's so advantageous to have very early access to a good home library, someone to ask anything to, anytime, other kind of resources or materials that the common mortals don't even dream exist. Sleeping inside and having a bed. Driving. Having your parents be able to pay for or help you pay for college. Going on holiday each year, especially to other countries. People damn near started an uprising when they couldn't go on holiday during the pandemic, as if it was their God-given right to do so and the government was depriving them of something integral to life. They seem to think the universe owes them a £4k holiday to a resort in Cyprus every year. That shit is not a right, it's a privilege. I've never experienced a vacation like that, and honestly can't imagine doing it regularly. Fresh water. Well, seeing as water is required for life, fresh is a privilege some people have, while at the same time, having fresh water is a human right that humans are born with and all should have. Waking up pain-free. Having no mental health problems. Needs more upvotes. Autonomy. I am a guy with cerebral palsy. I walk and talk fine. But I have a limp and learning issues. It's a privilege to have a body that doesn't ache constantly. It's a privilege if you can have no restrictions to sew what you want with that body. It's a privilege to not be bullied and slurred by many people because of something you can't control. Discrimination is real. If I point it out, I am the jerk. Whether in life, dating or anything at all. Exercising and getting to move your body. Working in a nursing home with people with varying degrees of immobility all the way up to total paralysis from the neck down made me so appreciative of just being able to get out of bed and take care of my own needs like using the bathroom, getting a drink of water, etc. A support system. Being from a rich country. Working class people don't want to admit that they can buy cheap things for their children because they are made by kids in sweatshops. Why children are literally coerced into picking cotton in China. The planet. Most things. I take everything for granted and simultaneously feel bad about being able to be a person. Being able to find a job. Also being capable of working full-time, physically and mentally. Having an unconscious culture fit in the workplace. It's the difference between being able to speak your mind or even feel comfortable with little things like asking for time off or not. Generational wealth. That's like the most recognized privilege.